Good morning, everybody. It is Tuesday the 17th, roughly 10:10 in the morning. I got to sleep in today. My brain didn't wake me up. But I got a call. First thing in the morning, I get a call from one of my coworkers to let me know what's going on. Lisa is basically the coworker who called me. She's also been the person in charge while Debbie, the boss, has been taking, we call it maternity leave, even though she's not the one who had the baby. It was her daughter who had the baby. But we have had is the word, a coworker who was causing issues on the job. And Lisa had a manager meeting, I guess you'd call it, with Debbie to tell her what was going on and how everybody was feeling. And, well, the person who has been giving us issues, a combination of bullying and just the whole attitude where, she's supposed to be in charge even though she's the newest person there. But because Lisa, myself, and our night block person, Jesse, has basically expressed the issues that we were having between the bullying, the acting as she was in charge, and just all around displeasure with this person. As of today, that person no longer works with us because Debbie would prefer to let go a person who's not up to snuff and causing too many issues. I'm going to express my honesty. I'm happy that I don't have to deal with that person no more. I'm not happy with the fact that we had to fire her. I wish it could have been dealt with a different way. I wish it could have been dealt with like, we're going to cut your hours. We're going to sit down and talk to you to tell you why we're cutting your hours and the whole 9 yards. But I think what broke the camel's back, so to speak, is the factor that Sunday evening when she was working with Jesse and another coworker, this particular person's boyfriend really came in and babysat, so to speak. Not a good scene, no, I'm sorry. It's one thing when a family member, spouse, child, whatnot comes in to order some food, stays for about long enough for the food to be served, and, some minor, just a couple minutes worth of communication. But to sit there the whole night, basically, to babysit. Now, I don't know exactly what transpired during the time that the person's boyfriend was there, but I know if I was in a situation, I would have asked the gentleman to leave. If you've gotten your food, you're not here to order food. You're just here to be a distraction. No, you can't be in the store. That and a factor, causing issues with people who've been there longer than you have, and then acting like you're in charge. Basically, you can boss people around is frowned upon in most businesses. But anyhow, excuse me. I have some questions and answers. The first question is from Heidi. Her question is, if the coronavirus was available, would I take it? Be honest with you, I don't know. I would definitely take it if the doctors told me to. What I know about the coronavirus vaccine is a lot of people cannot take it because it contains elements that people are allergic to, like the fact that it's a vaccine that was cultured in chicken egg. chicken egg was one of the elements to help culture it. And there are a lot of people out there who are allergic to chicken eggs, cannot have chicken eggs or any part of a chicken because of food allergens. I don't have food allergens, but that's one of the downsides of this vaccine. Now, I personally, like I said, I think I would if the doctor told me to. If the doctor did not tell me to, because of the fact that I'm healthy, um, but under the circumstances of there is, now I don't know if that was an American number or a global number, but we in America have reached over or around 11 million cases. Now, I don't know if that's cases and deaths or deaths then cases. I don't know what the number was, but America has reached 11 million coronavirus documentations. Globally, we're almost at or above the halfway point to 200 million. Yes, folks, and I got this information off the CDC. 200 million cases or documentations of coronavirus. Whether that's just the people who've gotten it or people who've died from it, I don't know the exact who's died and who hasn't died. Heidi also mentioned she's getting acne from the mask. This is not acne, sweetheart. This is actual. It's a cold sore. I get one every year. This is the worst it's been in ages, and the mask may be a contributing factor of how bad it got this year. And I am taking care of it, by the way. Mary. Sorry I don't put you guys as last names, especially if I can pronounce your first name. But Mary said, never had to deal with corona. Okay, Mary travels to and from Long Island, New York. And she's never had to deal with the paperwork to drive drive to and from Long Island, and she's got out-of-state plates. Mary, I don't know where you live, but because my wife and I were traveling from the Midwest to New York, that might have been a contributing factor of why we had to deal with paperwork and let the local health authority know what our daily activities were. Now, I've been told by a couple people I knew while I was visiting that, and they live in Jersey, New Jersey, the state, not Jersey, the city. I know there's a city called Jersey City. But they didn't have to deal with paperwork or anything either because they lived just right across the Hudson, the river, the bay, whatever you want to call it. And they had Jersey plates. So if you live like in Jersey and you're going to and from Long Island, I'm pretty sure they don't worry about you because you're so close that if you're within within a certain state limitation or whatever, I don't know. But I think because the factor when we visited, or at the time we visited, there was high cases of coronavirus throughout the country. So I don't know. Maybe because the factor, like I said, you live so close, they don't worry about you. Before I talk about this next comment, this lady, Delisa, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. She lives in my neighborhood. She lives in my town, I should say, not my neighborhood. Rolla is a fairly decent town. But this is the time of the year that we start doing cookie prep. we started doing holiday cookies. And basically, she said, if we need help with cookie making, just give her a call. Well, we haven't started yet. Mom was under the weather yesterday. We're going to try to start some, maybe start some today. A lot of this has to do with how Mom feels. The problem is the days that I work, that I'm not home, it's up to Jerry and Mom to do the cookies. When I'm home, I'm available. I can help out. Tammy, she made a comment towards my comment about shutting down the country, and it not being a simple thing. I think she took it out of context because she was worried about if we shut down the country, what about our power plants and our, the essentials. Well, I'll be honest with you, Tammy. I have people I talk to who live in the UK, who live in Norway, who live in Germany, and they did the same thing that I'm talking about, shutting our borders down. I'm not saying shut the country off. I'm saying shut the borders down, close our schools, close our non-essentials. Our essentials would be medical, grocery, power plants, communication services, emergency services. You're not shutting those down. You're just shutting the borders down so there's no incoming or outgoing traffic. So we're not spreading the virus or bringing the virus in from outside sources. Now, way back when, before trade, commerce, and whatnot was a big component to survival, and I'm talking about 50s and 60s, before we were importing automotives or importing, well, we might have been importing automotives, but we weren't importing America before, probably right before I was born, and probably up until about the mid-70s, we had Levi jeans, all American made. We had the Ford car industry in Detroit, Michigan, all American made. The problem that we have as a nation is the fact that we've gotten so used in the last 2 or 3 decades of importing stuff from overseas that we could make here in America, but because of the fact that it was easier for us to have a foreign country build our automotives and our clothing and whatnot because it was cheaper. And that's basically what it was. Is big industries, big corporations were looking for a cheaper method of getting their products done so they don't have to pay the American worker the amount of money that we, I don't want to say demand, but we deserve. There are some industries that deserve more than what they're getting paid now, that we can easily make Detroit, Michigan a booming auto industry again if we just start doing our own products, or making our own cars. Levi jeans could come back in style if we would make our own jeans, our own clothing industry here in America instead of importing. For a short period of time, let's just put it this way. What I know about Norway and their borders and whatnot, what they're currently doing, or what they did when the virus started. When the virus started and they started showing signs of having coronavirus in their nation, they closed their borders, which basically meant no travel in and out of the country, no import into the country, no export out of the country. Everything was kept within their borders. Their infrastructure, their power plants, their industries and whatnot kept going. They didn't collapse. They didn't have a problem. And when their numbers were dropping and looked like they were having like no new cases of corona, they reopened. But within the last couple weeks, Oslo, which is one of their major port cities, one of their major imports locations where everything comes into the country by boat, the city started showing signs of the coronavirus going back up. So what did they do? They closed down the city. Does that mean their power went out? Does that mean their groceries, their electricity, their emergency services, the necessities to keep the country running were shut down? No. Just no more travel, no more import, no more export. That's all. It's just we can do the same thing here. We can do the same thing so many other countries and nations have done to contain and decrease the coronavirus. But our government system and people sorry, I'm going to point you out, Tammy, like you, who are afraid that if we do a shutdown, that means no more power, no more infrastructure, no more emergency services, no more grocery stores. No, that's not what I meant. I meant just shut down travel, shut down import, shut down export, shut down anything outside of our nation until we can contain and control and drop our numbers, just like every other country did when it first started. And that's, I mean, it's not that difficult. It's quite simple. What makes it difficult is the politicians and the people who go into a paranoid, schizophrenic, oh, if we shut down, we're going to collapse. No, we're not. No, we're not. It just means we as American people have to work a little bit harder, be a little bit more diligent in trying to contain and control this virus by wearing masks, by shutting down non-essentials. Schools are yet aren't essential. There are plenty of people out there, plenty of responsible parents out there who do not have their kids in school. They're homeschooled until they're a certain age. My niece, who lives in Vegas, a very smart, very intelligent, very outgoing person, up until, well, I don't know if she was homeschooled during high school, but I know she was homeschooled for a period of time, and she's in her 20s now. So this is way before the coronavirus ever happened. So homeschooling can be done. I know it's difficult for some parents because it's affected, or some households because both parents work. But the thing is, there are plenty of people out there who are willing to come into your home and help educate your kids, take care of your kids. A lot of colleges during the coronavirus, when it first started, back in the springtime, closed down, sent everybody home, but they were doing online education, or the professors were recording their sessions and whatnot and putting it on a special website for the college, and the college kids were just jumping on the website and doing it. And a lot of them did their schooling quickly and had a longer summer. Besides that, our education system is kind of underrated because actually overrated. My experience. This is my experience. If you were to take your child, whether it's a grade school or high school child, and go live over in Germany, especially because I know Germany pretty well. Do you realize that German kids go to school 6 days out of the week? Granted, their time in classes, well, actually, no, their time in classes is about the same as American schools. But they go 6 days a week, and their system, their school system, their educational systems are 10 times better than we are. So, as for shutting down the way our cousins and brothers and sisters across the pond did, we should have done that. We should still do that. I'm hoping Biden does. Do you think it's difficult? No, it's not. No. It's not that difficult. Rita had a comment, and she agrees with me. She basically said, I know that's why we need to shut down, because of the coronavirus. And like I said, look at the demonstration or the method of how they did it in Europe. Basically, very simple. They basically canceled travel plans. They shut down their travel services in and out of the country. They basically locked down their borders so nothing could come and go. They did not shut down their infrastructure. Their infrastructure was still up and standing. Their military, their police force, their emergency services, their electrical systems, their communication systems, all the important stuff stayed open. It was the borders and the non-essentials that closed down. Even in England, from what I was told by one of my viewers, and I consider her a good friend. I haven't heard much from her lately. I hope she's doing okay. But Liz from Britain, England, UK, however you want to put it, basically said they were shut down. Their borders were shut down. Their travel was shut down. Their infrastructure stood. You can easily go to the grocery store, but you can only go to the grocery store and come back, or go to the medical people and come back. You could get out of your house and walk around your yard, but you couldn't leave. You could not leave your yard. You had to stay within your property line. She said everything went fine there. There was no big hullabaloo, no big problems, because the people were understanding the reasons why. The problem with the American people is we take our freedom for granted. In fact, some people take the freedom so for granted that they think they can do whatever they want, including, oh, I'm not going to get sick. I'm not going to wear a mask. Well, you know what, Bubba? The mask ain't just for you. It's for me. Do you know why I wear a mask? I wear a mask not to protect me from you, because we've already discovered that masks will not protect from another person. But it will protect you from me if I have the coronavirus. Because, like Typhoid Mary, we don't know who's got the virus until they're tested. I could have the virus and don't know about it and be spreading it all over the place if I wasn't wearing a mask outside of my house. So the mask isn't to protect you. It's not to protect me. I gotta slow down. The masks are to protect each other from each other. In other words, when I wear my mask, I am protecting you from me. When you wear your mask, you're protecting me from you. It's that simple. It's not freaking rocket scientists. I'm hoping I'm saying this right, because it looks like Sandy. Yeah. It was basically, Sandy was talking about how each state, like, I think she's from California, and in California they are starting to mandate masks. And it's basically up to each state's government or governor to make the mandate. Make it a mandate to where you wear the mask. Because there have been so many times, and I now understand why Jerry doesn't want to go out in the general public, especially when there's a large group of people. Because there are so many people in the state of Missouri, or at least in my neck of the woods of Missouri, that they don't want to wear the mask. Well, I can and cannot understand. Okay, I can understand the fact that some of the masks that are out there are kind of restrictive, because if you have breathing issues, if you have seasonal allergies or anything of that nature, where you're already having enough difficulty breathing because you're all stuffy and clogged and all that stuff, I understand why you don't want to wear the mask. But like I said, the mask isn't just to protect you from the environment around you. It's also to help those around you be protected from you. Because this virus does not show up the same in every individual person. It's not like if you've got flu-like symptoms, you might want to go and have yourself checked for corona. Some people have flu issues, some people have stomach issues, some people just have the aches and pains. There are so many different signs that could be corona. But the thing is, most people are like, well, yeah, I might be short of breath, or I might have the aches and pains, or I might have the stomach problem, but how's that coronavirus? Because I'm not coughing, I'm not sneezing, I'm not hacking up multicolored loogies, or however you want to put it. It don't matter. I'd rather people take the precaution of wearing the masks and whatnot, whether they think they've got the virus or not, just for the factor of protecting those around you. Because I go to work every day, and I go to work with, especially this time of year, sinus problems because of seasonal allergies. But is it seasonal allergies? I go to work on a regular basis with aches and pains. Is it just the fact that I'm getting old and worn out, or my joints are cold or my joints are becoming arthritic because of the cold? There's 50 million different reasons why I could be achy and whatnot, but could it be corona? Don't know. My stomach every so often, I get nervous about work because I don't know what work's going to detail or how busy it's going to be, so I get a little nervous. So it causes my stomach to get a little tight. Is it nerves or the corona? Don't know. That's the point. I could be a typhoid Mary and don't know about it, but since nobody else in my house is showing symptoms of corona, or I don't think they are, because it's also the time of year that all three of us get seasonal issues, whether it's Jerry gets seasonal allergies and coughs and whatnot. I get stuffy nose, sometimes coughing and sneezing. Mom gets stuffy nose with sneezing. It's that time of year where we all go, is it just our seasonal problems, or could it actually be a corona issue? Don't know. I haven't taken the time. I don't think any of us have taken the time to go get tested. We should. You know, I've seen the videos for coronavirus testing. Sorry, if you got a stick with a swab on the end, that the stick is long enough, it looks like you're going to be tickling the back of my brain. And I've got stuffy nose problems. Do I really want you to be sticking that thing up my nose? Not really. But as some of my family members have said in the past, I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried out by 6. Sounds bad, but there's a point to it. I know several other states, and I can't remember all of them, that are starting to do mandates, whether it's mandated mask wearing or closing down of non-essential places. If they do another close down, I don't know if I'm going to be out of a job or not, because the last time Dickies closed because of the coronavirus the first time around, their dining area was closed, but the pickup was open, and they only had one, maybe two people working throughout the whole day, or shift, I should say, not day. So I'm kind of like, I don't want to have to go through the process of trying to get unemployment because of the whole ordeal. But I do understand fears about closings, whether it's closing down the whole country or closing down a state or city, because that means people will be out of work. And it's good. My biggest fear isn't the fact of being out of work. My biggest fear is basically bankruptcy. And I don't mean just my personal bankruptcy because I couldn't pay my bills, but bankruptcy of a state or bankruptcy of the nation because everybody was collecting unemployment. But my thing is, there's a way around that. I've already thought about these things. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm trying to tell the president how to run the country or how I would run the country if I was president. But we have got, I don't know how many. I don't know the numbers. But I know we've got more than enough high income, high level what am I trying to say? There's enough people in this nation who make, 6+ figures on a regular basis. And I'm not saying monthly or yearly. I'm just saying they make buku money. And those people right there, I'm just going to name one of the biggest ones I know, Bill Gates. Bill Gates has been putting a lot of money into the coronavirus studies. Coronavirus vaccine is what I meant to say. He makes buku money because, I mean, Bill Gates, everybody's got, just about everybody uses IBM or Microsoft products, unless you have Apple. The man's got money. People like him who have money like that, they're the ones that should be should have high taxes. They're the ones who can basically bail the nation out of debt if the government were to work with them or do whatever to get the money from them. But the thing is, there are so many people who make money like Bill Gates, make bank like Bill Gates, that don't help out. They'd rather collect that money and sit on high and do whatever they want with their money instead of trying to help their nation out. So, I mean, as somebody who thinks about these things, I would be like, go after those people. Tax those people to the highest degree we possibly can without getting into legal issues, and then help out the nation with that money. Help out the little people. There's all kinds of other things that I've thought about, like, oh, if we were to do this, we can make our nation better. If we were to do this, we can make the nation better. If we do this, we can not only just make our nation better, we can make the world better. But anyhow, last question before I sign off is from Nelly, sorry. She's talking about New York has early closures. Nelly, I knew about some of the early closures in New York because I had family and friend telling me that bars and stores and restaurants and a lot of other things that are not considered essentials were closing down early, which I know for the fact that if bars are closing down at 10 p.m., things are getting serious out there. So I know in my small town, here in Rolla, we had a issue. I don't know if anybody's seen it on the news, but we had two different incidents where there were large gatherings. One of it was high school gathering. They had like I'm going to call it a shindig because I don't know if it was a dance, a dinner party, what it was, but it was some sort of party with the high school, and nearly 50% or more of that group, of the one group, contracted corona. As for the other event, I don't know exactly what it was, but it was the same thing. It was a large gathering, and half of the group got corona. And then what was even more interesting is the fact that my McDonald's here in town, the night shift between, I think it's like, I don't know if it was between 5 and 10 or 10 to the next morning, the whole store closed. I mean, literally, McDonald's was closed during that shift because nearly 50%, if not all 100% of the crew members for that particular shift came down with corona. Now, my thing is, if they knew about it and if somebody who worked that shift came in the store and got members of the next shift sick, the whole store should have just closed down for 14 days. I mean, literally shut down McDonald's for 14 days. It would have been beneficial for some of the other fast food businesses, and the only other McDonald's in what is called in the township of Rolla is the Love's truck stop, just up 44, another 5 minutes up 44, or not even 5 minutes, more like 5 to 10 minutes up the road, just on the city limit border, is a Love's truck stop with a McDonald's. So if you're craving McDonald's, you can easily go out there if you're truly craving McDonald's. Otherwise, along the same road that McDonald's is on is Burger King, Dickies, not Hardee's, Long John Silver's, Wendy's, Arby's, and Little Caesars. We call it Ptomaine Alley because that's where most of the fast food places are. It's either up the same road as McDonald's, or if you go up the other direction towards 44, there's Hardee's, DQ, and Taco Bell. So, anyhow, that's my Q&A for the day. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. You can add a comment into the comment box. And sorry, kind of got winded. There's a subscribe button floating around that you can click on, and then a little bell to click on, and YouTube will let you know when I put in the next video. Until next time, have a good day. Bye.